With the Wii U eShop closing, I've seen discussions on the games that we're going to be losing now. We're never going to see them again. Then I got thinking, what about the games I reviewed for the Wii U eShop that are going away? So then I looked at the list and I'm like, wow, either these were just okay at best or terrible. So are we going to really miss them? I will say that a great deal of these games on this list were sent to me by the publishers. So thanks again for that. I decided to go back and find 10 games that were only released on the Wii U. They couldn't have a physical release and they couldn't have been released on any other platform like the PlayStation or Steam. And out of all my reviews that I did on the Wii U, it looks like there's only 10 of them that qualify for that. There were a lot of Wii U games released on Steam, and that includes The Letter, one of the worst games on the Wii U I ever reviewed. So it's not going to be on this list. I did try to research each of these games to see if it was released any other way, and it's totally possible it was, and it shouldn't be here. There wasn't a ton of information on these games, so if I got it wrong, feel free to tell me in the comments, so people can know where to find it. Also, I'm sure I missed one that should have been here. Feel free to remind me of it in the comments as well. So let's get this thing started. Number 10. Blocky Bot. This was actually an endless jumper, and it was more fun than you might expect. Now, it did have some problems with some technical issues, but honestly, this was probably the most fun game out of all these 10 games. It took me over 2 hours to unlock all of the characters. I had all the levels unlocked by 40 minutes, but I kept playing because it was so addicting. The 100 points to unlock a character was just enough to make it reachable with just a little bit of effort, so I just kept playing. Mainly because I wanted to unlock him. The pissed off firefly thingy from Spiky Walls. Doing a little research, I see this was actually on purpose, and he was on loan from RC Maddox. Aw, that's really sweet of them. It was just good to see him in a fun game for a change. Number 9. Twisted Fusion. This is sort of a Metroidvania type game, which has its perspective way too far out. The loading times to actually get into the game are just too long, but overall, the game was just okay. I came across quite a few people in my journey traveling through these boxy areas. Like for example, this one guy who's trapped in this area where you need a jetpack to get around. He says he's cold and we tell him that he needs to go east for warmer climates, which is true for this game. And then we just leave him there. He has no way to get up. He's gonna die there and we have no reaction to this. It kind of feels like no person that we come across will ever give a care about going exploring and they decide to stay in their exact spot. This maze should be littered with people moving throughout it with the amount of people I'm come across. I mean, did none of these people have a survival instinct? Number 8. Underground. This is one of the first games that I've ever played that actually was made for a very specific purpose. It was to teach surgeons. This odd cave adventure was really made to help people do precision work. But with it being priced at over $20 at the time and issues with the gameplay, the best thing I can say about it was that it was decent. The game can actually be played with 2 Wiimotes, but you have to play it with a special adapter that they only sell on their website. And it looks like this.
It looks like 2 guns, like just pointing to the what?
That's the arm. You pull back on the arms and you...
What even is that? Who would play their game like that?
Apparently surgeons have to do repetitive training exercises, so this was to break up the monotony.
Because you know surgeons play video games.
Well, no, that's the whole point. They normally have to do it as like a training exercise. And I agree, the tool looks a little weird. And it does look like 2 guns just pointing down. Number 7. I've Gotta Run! This was an endless runner, which a different version was actually available in the 3DS eShop, which is also closing. But it is a lesser version, so I guess the 3DS version is the complete version, as that's what it's called. Now this game had a couple modes, which was fun for about 2 minutes. You're seeing the extent of the fun. Woo! Soak it in, people! My guess from the background of this level, he's running because he doesn't want to become a hot chocolate topping, which is understandable. Now, Endless Double Mode takes that crazy gameplay idea and somehow improves upon it by making it so you can now jump twice. I hope this new gimmick didn't just blow your mind. This time you're in a medieval environment. What could you be running away from in a medieval world? Guess they could be seeing him as an evil marshmallow man and they want to roast him over a campfire and eat him. Dude, I don't blame you for running. Wow. Maybe this running does make sense. Number 6. Spherazor. This is a puzzle-ish collectible game which has some multiplayer options. It was tedious at times, especially in the multiplayer, but overall it feels like a first attempt at this genre, which was not memorable, but also not bad, just alright. You can play this at easy, medium, hard, or expert. All it really does is, I think, speeds up the enemies and increases the amount of pellets you need to defeat the level, which some of the levels were already tedious enough. So if you have multiple people, if that person gets hit by an enemy, they get stunned for a few seconds. So the other person can try and collect the pellet. The problem is that one person has to be the one to get that high number. If one person gets 6 and the other person gets 4, it's not going to count to 10. You actually have to get to 10.
I mean, with 5 players, getting to 10 is already hard enough.
And having to deal with the very boring levels at that. Number 5. Minigame Madness Volume 1. This was a mixed bag of okay to bad games. I have no idea if there was ever a Minigame Madness Volume 2, but I doubt it. This feels like a few school projects that someone bundled together because the collection itself didn't have any central theme to it. It felt like a jumbled mess. It's an endless flyer. For some reason, your copter is flying around in a cave, which maybe is dropping off that character who's running around collecting gems in that previous game I was talking about. Now, graphically, it looks so simple, and it feels like they just threw it together in an afternoon. There is no style or feel to it. It's just a garbage Flappy Bird-esque clone. There's no reason to have this other than padding out the game collection, and I actually feel the presence of this collection actually takes down the quality of the whole package. Number 4. Journey of a Special Average Balloon. For what it was, a simple collect the items on the screen, it wasn't terrible. This was from the same people who made the letter. And unlike the letter, they didn't release this on the PC as far as I could tell. As a game, it's repetitive and short, but it's at least way better than the letter. So good job on that. There is also an odd minigame where you have to play as the evil one, I assume, as you're murdering your balloon family and friends. It was an odd addition to have a slingshot game that's goal is to kill the very thing that you were trying to save. The controls in the minigame were just awful. The animation never makes it clear where the rock is heading. Every time it just looks like it's flying off into the sky. But I guess since the world is made of helium, I guess that makes sense. You have a timer to destroy all the balloons. The odd thing is that if you do cause the destruction of all your balloon friends, and if there's time left over, you have to wait until the timer's done in order for the game to end. It doesn't end when your goal is done, which is just strange. The same thing happens in the main game, but it really was only like a 1-second delay from when you collect the rainbow piece. Number 3. Santa Factory. This is an educational game with a twist. Actual gameplay. Every time you collect a candy cane, you can draw on the screen to help your character. It's too bad that the twist wasn't that the game was actually good. It had the right idea about teaching kids about words, but the gameplay sucked. So the story is about an elf who needs to collect Santa's letters. That for some reason this elf needs to shrink down to get these letters, which you would think it would make it even harder. Then all of a sudden the elf is gone and you're a reindeer collecting presents. Wait, what happened to the elf? Did he ever get unshrunk? Did we get all the letters? Why am I a reindeer collecting presents now? How did that happen? He'll just change the tone and shift of the gameplay and not explain it. This is one of the many gameplay decisions that just don't make any sense. They seem to design levels without any real care to the flow of the story. Or honestly the fun of the gameplay itself. In fact, I didn't even know there was an official story till I was messing around in the menus, and almost each of the worlds have a story on the gamepad. Not that it makes more sense with the level design, but why not put this in the game? Number 2. The first Skunk bundle. When this first came out, it was $24.99 for a bunch of mediocre games. Some were more fleshed out than others, but they all sucked. I remember a little bit after this came out, they dropped the price to free, but Nintendo would still give you the gold coins for the $24.99, and people were downloading it because of that loophole. Sure, it would be worth it then, but if you're playing it for the game itself, don't. It was terrible. Why is there a wall sticking out that only exists on one side? If you look at the other side, it's just gone. Was this the ghost of a wall that was once murdered? Some construction worker murdered it, and it came back for revenge. Why is there a key stuck in the middle of the hole of a ghost? I am not kidding on this one. That is literally where it is. This ghost has spastic diarrhea, and you have to unplug the key and just let it flow. By the way, that's not the only body fluid joke in here. I counted at least 4 of them. Why is there power to run the fans but no lights? Why is there a camera? No, I gotta stop. Seriously, there's 4 more games, but I've got pages of notes on this game alone. Number 1. Zombie Brigade, no brain, no gain. This is a parody of a sorta endless runner, which had no enjoyment value in it at all. It goes out of its way to be terrible. From the annoying clips of people coming out to scold you, to changing the camera angles to distract you, or dragging out the levels way too long. Nothing about this game was good even a little. As a zombie, you can turn the people that you see into zombies as well, and they kind of act like a life bar. For each zombie in your horde, you can make one mistake, assuming that mistake isn't falling down a hole, as they'll just mimic your actions and they'll all fall down the same hole. Plus, if you do this, you'll be treated to a sound clip of the woman scolding you for every zombie who dies.
Oh my god, what is he doing? 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 Oh my god, what is he doing?
Those are the Wii U eShop games that are going away forever. I'm sure you're all very disappointed you never got to play it. Thank you all for watching.